Oh yes, legends. How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing fantastic today. We'll be analyzing the situation all together for the price of Bitcoin. Welcome, everybody, to the show today. Whoops. Let's analyze the situation all together. Hope you're doing fantastic. We'll be here for New York Open, of course, and we'll be discussing a few of the scenarios here that could happen for the price of Bitcoin. But for the moment, it does look like that the bears are in control, guys. Bears are in control. We have gotten inside back throughout the last couple of days inside of the value area of this entire trading range, because you can arguably discuss that this was a big range since November of 2025, right? Bit of a channel formation, bit of a bear flag, very corrective price action. Looked like we were breaking above the value area high. We got back inside the value area high of this trading range. We back tested it yesterday, and now we're getting this continuation to the downside. Now we are getting a reaction at the weekly level, which I say it is a valid attempt. Some possible local double bottoms could happen in this region. Something that we need to point out, okay? Weekly level, we did not double bottom from the low of yesterday. We got rejected at the 382 Fibonacci. Speculating on either a wave 4 or a double 1-2, even though this second 1-2, it preferably you do get some overlap, okay, from your first wave 1. So are we in a wave 5? Are we in a wave 5 right over here? For the moment, it looks like that the bears do have control of the situation, and it does prioritize with the information that we have that we could be going much lower in the next couple of weeks. 87k, 80k. This already has all of its parts in the waves to have a possible impulsive move to the downside. The first initial stages to maybe roll down later on here in the next coming weeks. Will we manage to get that local bounce? That is the question, right? Do we get the local bounce here? Do we form a local double bottom? Do we break down and get continuation? Now, yesterday I was talking about I don't like the idea of breaking down here in a wave 3. Okay, getting a big volatile move just because this movement was the most volatile and the one with the highest amount of volume. But the fact that this wave is actually smaller than this leading contracting diagonal, then eventually it gives you the potential, of course, just because this wave was not so explosive, all right? Even though it did look quite explosive, but it's still shorter from this high to the low, meaning that, yes, we can adapt a second wave 1 and 2. It's very common for the wave 2 to overlap your wave 1. That is something that is a little bit disturbing here, but regardless, you could have a shallow wave 2 and break down in a wave 3. This is something that I'm a little bit aware about, that we know how the market plays, especially when you're looking at the higher time frame. Staircase up, right? Elevator down, and we could be on the higher time frame elevator down period, right? Where things can get very, very nasty and ferocious. Congratulations to the ones that are in shorts, big short positions, okay, from the 97k region, because it's one of those swing shorts that you want to be positioned for the next coming weeks, because this right now, with the data that we have on the charts, there's good potential to not only hit $87,000 but even get below $80,000. Okay, so yeah, we just need to play this level to level, and you know, realize if we are going to get that bounce, how that bounce is going to be. Are we just going to fall through waterfall here because we literally just on the formation of a wave 3? I personally don't think that is going to be the case. Okay, I think there's going to be, you know, I do personally think that we are in wave 5 formation here, regardless, with another low, a double bottom. I think we can hold this region. This region can be held potentially for the next couple of days. So test the lows. Volume is decreasing coming into the lows here, which is obviously a green light for the bounce. Okay, when we get some lower lows with decreasing volume, that is a pretty good sign that it could be wave 5 territory. Now, when you go to the lower time frames, eventually, is this a 1 2 1 2 3 4 5? Right, you've got a couple of 4-5s here, a little bit of wicky price action to the downside before we get that larger relief rally. That's something that I would be counting on at this moment, just because we have decreasing volume. So double bottoms are the name of the game here. You want to manage risk. The weekly level did try to hold today. It is beneath the weekly level. Can it manage to reclaim it? Right, the weekly level is the one that is acting as support throughout today after getting this drop. So this weekly level, when we go to the weekly time frame, we can see that it was a weekly close and open that we've had from the last 2 weeks, right over here. So that is currently what is trying to hold today, which can get a bounce eventually, right? There could be that relief rally. Now, where could this relief rally, regardless if we claim the lows again, right? It can be choppy, it can be a little bit disturbing. It is very, very common at these levels of support to get these local double, triple bottoms, right? Kind of these wicks to the downside before it gets that bounce, maybe of $1,000, $2,000, right? Very much acceptable for a day trade setup. Good support, weekly level. That's a good tick. When we go through the lower time frames, we can see that, do we have a potential wave 5 formation? Okay, even though the wave 3 is smaller than your wave 1, we don't like that too much, but it's acceptable as long as the wave 3 is not the smallest wave out of the 5 waves. Okay, so wave 5 needs to be smaller, so it makes sense for this wave 5 to come to its end stages. That would be looking at this scenario right over here, where your invalidation is at $89,840. Congratulations to the ones that wanted to short here. I didn't short. I didn't add to my short position. Got a very small short position from the 97k region. Wanted to be in that big short, but I think we can compound into that short in the next coming days, right? Once we get a bounce, analyze the bounce. It looks very corrective because on the higher time frame, I think it is looking pretty damn good for the bears to literally break down in a wave 3 or at least a wave C, right? I am looking for this wave. First wave, it's all good if you catching the top here. We're hitting the anchored VWAP and also that big high volume node that we had from November of 2024, right? Anchored VWAP, people can be, jumping into shorts already here at this 97k region based on the confluence of the higher time frame. Very much acceptable to get in, manage risk. We were uptrending last week, getting a bit of spikes, bit of volume, bit of hype, of course. People calling for 100k, 102k. That did not happen, of course, as we can see with this rejection. So I'm interested in the wave 3. I'm interested in the third wave, regardless if it's a C wave or a third wave. That is the one where I want to be exposed. So we're likely going to get some very, very good information. Now, we do have a confirmation that this could be a 5-wave move down. So what we need is the bounce. What we need is the bounce to happen at some point for me to get into new short positions and even compound to my existing short. That is not, it's not a big short for me, for my capital, okay? But regardless, I think there will be time. There will be time to compound into the short and get into new existing shorts on the higher time frame as a swing short, okay? First of all, big disclaimer, legends. This content is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. The information provided is not guaranteed to be accurate or complete. Always conduct your own research before making any financial decision. Quick hello to the community. Got a lot to cover here, guys. We are at support. We do have a potential 5th wave. We do have volume decreasing. Everything points out that a local bounce can happen here. A local bounce can happen. Now, there are several ways of reading what we have here. several ways. I have a few scenarios, all right, and I'll point them out to you. All of the scenarios point out that a local bounce here is more favorable, okay, regardless if it's going to be a shallow bounce and then move down again, or if it's going to be a much larger bounce to the upside. That is what I have right now here with choppiness, double, triple bottoms. I understand that on the local time frame, we do have a lot of choppiness, a lot of noise, right? So another 4-5 here and another one. It's very much acceptable, I have to say, for this structure. The biggest move has been in this zone, right? So you starting to get the lower highs, a little bit of the rollover, and then the bigger move happens here as we break this low. No successful double bottom, we just break it. Next level of interest, if we do not double bottom, we don't reclaim here this zone for a bit of a bigger bounce, is the weekly level that was explained on yesterday's stream. We are currently sitting on this weekly level, which is, you know, an acceptable zone to attempt a position here. Okay, I have to say, it is acceptable. Everything connects very nicely based on the support that we have, and looking at the internal waves here, that this is a level to potentially get the bounce. Now, will the bounce be extremely explosive? Which I'm not relying on. Okay, the market looks weak. The market looks like it wants to continue this downtrend, but or will the bounce be very shallow, very shallow bounce? Okay, very overlappy, very weak, just to take out the lows again later on. Okay, regardless of which one happens, this is where you need to manage your trade, right? The price looks strong, bullish CBDs, bullish market structure. You start getting a bit of upside momentum, hitting 92, maybe 93K. Then you want to maintain that long. If the market is just moving up very choppy, okay, and very overlappy, and it's very weak, and it's getting extended in time, okay, with the momentum to the upside, like really struggling here to really get up, then eventually you need to understand that, you know, this is looking weak. We're likely going to claim the lows again. So it's all about managing the situation here and managing risk, regarding this potential bounce here that we do have on that weekly level. So we got a lot to discuss. We'll be talking about the levels, the scenarios. I have to say, whoever wanted to participate in the movement down to claim these local lows. Yesterday we were talking about how the price action for the bears need to defend the $94,100. You do not want to see the price come all the way up there yesterday, and the 382 and the 50% Fibonacci is the zone of rejection if we are taking into consideration that this could be a wave 4. Wave 4 needs to top out here in this 382 50% zone without hitting the golden pocket. Risk to reward is not that massive if you're aiming for the low, but as we are in downtrend momentum since this high, well, you know, you do have favorable position here, but your first TP is as you do break the low. Eventually you want to start collecting some of those profits. If anybody anticipated that, you know, 382 50% Fibonacci, very valid. Just the risk to reward is not that massive, but, you know, getting into the 382 50% Fibonacci stop loss at the golden pocket, you're targeting the low really. So it's just stretching a 2-to-1. I mean, yeah, it is acceptable. 2-to-1 if you're still holding, you know, 3-to-1 risk to reward. It is acceptable when we consider Elliott wave theory here, that this could have been the wave 4 formation, just because this was the most ferocious move with high volume that we've had throughout the last few days. And you always want to try and label it as a wave 4. Hence why, rejecting at 382 50% Fibonacci without hitting the golden pocket is one of the things, right? It's the only kind of possible trade that we saw available yesterday. Very boring range as we were doing the stream. What can we say? Literally, we started the stream here and we were just literally this entire zone, very small zone of $500 throughout the stream. But if we're considering the possibilities, Fibonacci, the waves, then this was the area of rejection to claim the lows. So we're at the weekly. We've got a lot of things to say here today. We've got lots of things. Double, triple bottoms in this area, I have to say it's acceptable. We can go through basically the strategy, the reasons you're hitting the weekly level. You have decreasing volume into the lows as you break this low. That is a recipe for a bounce. Okay, if this were to be a multiple 1 2 1 2 1 and 2, it is very, very common for the second wave 2 to overlap your first wave 1. But it very, very common. That's what usually happens on multiple 1 2s. You just have that, awareness that sometimes your second wave 2 does not overlap your first wave 1, right? Or your third wave 2, your second wave 1, okay? It is possible, especially if the market is very, very bearish and it's just rolling over. So with the data that we have, if this had to be a multiple 1 2 and this breakdown in a wave 3, you really want to see the price go, right? Could the volumes kick in from here? Technically, it could. Technically, there's nothing that says to me that this could not happen, right? Yesterday, we were talking about the probabilities here of breaking down successfully, either double bottom or get a bounce from the weekly was very, very likely, considering that this is your wave 3. But doing some more calculations, because this movement is shorter than this one, we need to consider it a second wave 1. We just have to. If this would have been longer, right, then eventually the next move down, I would have had a bit of more confidence that it's not going to break down low probability in breaking down, literally. At this moment, I do have a little bit of doubts. I'm a little bit defensive, even though I went in a little bit too aggressive into the long trade here. I had to deleverage a little bit into this position, but just because the weekly looks nice for the bounce. So double, triple bottoms in this zone is acceptable. Okay, if we break the low successfully, I have to say we need to reclaim it for me to be confident in either getting into a new long or adding to the position. We do have some levels beneath us, which I need to talk about. We do have the previous week open, which is the weekly level basically, which is where we're sitting on right now. It wants to hold. Previous month open is sitting at $90,360. Previous week low is at $90,000, which is this pivot right over here. Monday, basically, last Monday. We got a bit of previous week, previous month levels here. If this is going to be a wave 5, as explained, your invalidation is beneath the previous week low. So it is a zone to get a relief. This is a zone for a relief rally. Will it be this one? Will it double bottom? Will it triple bottom? But it is a zone to speculate on double, triple bottoms, okay? Because it just gives you a good entry, good risk management. Anyone that wants to take the position as in, I don't care, I'm just going to take it as a 2-3 to 1 risk reward. For this particular scenario, your invalidation is sitting at 89,840. Now, the main reason why is because your wave 3 is smaller than your wave 1. And wave 3 cannot be the smallest wave in an impulse. So you cannot reach with this leg down that we have down to the 89,000, okay, 840. So we got a very, very bearish scenario, which is that multiple 1-2s. And I have to say, being quite bullish movements throughout the last 1 to 2 weeks. We've had, we stretched out a lot here. A lot of people calling for 100K plus, 102K even. On the higher time frame, it just looks ready. The bears are in control. We want to manage risk on any scalp long setups. When the bounce does happen, I think it obviously makes sense to compound or look for big short positions regarding a swing trade to at least get to $87,000 with the potential to even go to much lower prices eventually. And there's only one main reason why. It's the higher time frame reading of the market. This does look like just by reading the timing and the momentum that it's a finished corrective structure, and a finished corrective structure bounce, it has very much a good potential to take out the lows in the next coming weeks, especially when we have already a valid impulsive move count to the downside, regardless if it's multiple 1-2s and we break down in a third wave in the next couple of days, or this is a 5-wave move down and we do get that bounce that preferably gets at least to the 50%, because a wave 2, it is very common to at least get wherever the low finishes here, if it is going to be a wave 5, to get to the 50% Fibonacci. And that's when we want to look for aggressive entries regarding a swing short position. So 50% is very, very, very common for that wave 2. Start getting ready once you get above the 382 eventually, right, to really analyze the local bounce whenever that happens, to see if we can detect it. Looks very, very 3-wavy, right? Hitting levels of resistance. We're going to get some plans here ready, because I do believe that there is a very, very good chance for the bearish case. I mean, this doesn't mean for me to go max short. I need that bounce to study and have a good execution, good entry, good risk management. I cannot get into a new short position where the current price is at the moment. Obviously not, right? You want to get into the bouncers. You want to get into the lower high potentials, right? Before you roll over. So we're going to break down. We were waiting now, as explained with the current information yesterday. We were talking about what comes first. There were actually more votes. Let me talk about that poll. Let's do a new poll actually here right away, and I'll go through the comment section in the next few seconds, guys. Give me a second that I can fix this poll for everybody here, because yesterday we had more votes for people calling for 98K plus than minus 87K on yesterday's stream, which we're literally in the middle. We had more people calling for 98K. Not much, about 54%, 53%. It was a bit of a 50-50. I would really like to know your opinion right now on this stream, guys. So make sure to get your votes in. What comes first for Bitcoin Legends? Let me know right away in the comment section, because yeah, it's going to be interesting. So it is going to be the same, plus 98K, minus 87K. We're obviously not that far away from minus 87K, but get your votes in right away, Legends, here, because get your votes in. Let's go through the comment section, say hello to the beautiful community, and we got a lot of things to break down. I have to say, with this information, I am prioritizing at a bare minimum hit a minus 87K with the information that we got from the rejection. So it all depends on the bounce. It really all depends on the bounce that we do get, or if we don't get follow through as a wave 3. But we want to be extremely cautious eventually with the higher time frame, guys. It just, at this current point where we are at the moment, it does look like very much like we could be, you know, getting into 87K zone. Now, I think someone pointed out yesterday that this could be a wave one and this could be an ABC flat, running flat or regular flat, right? Where you do take out the higher lows here, and then, you know, we form a higher low, and then we off we go back up. I don't like that scenario. I don't like it, just because this movement up does look more impulsive, and for a B wave you need a 3-wave structure. So you need a 3-wave down, 3-wave up, and a 5-wave move to the downside. That's all good for this recent move as a 5-waver to complete your C wave. Problem really is here to count this as your A wave and your B wave. B wave was pretty impulsive, I have to say. Was pretty impulsive. I mean, unless you are counting this structure as your wave A, this your wave B, and this your wave C. I'm not seeing that. Obviously, we need to count here the B wave, barely just missing the 1.618 extension. If we would have got to the 1.618 extension, this would have been, for me, invalidated. There's like 1 or 2 out of 100 B wave flats, okay, that do manage to get to the 1.618 extension. Like, extremely rare that a B wave reaches the 1.618 extension. This would be a clear invalidation. We missed it by a few $100 when we got this rally, so it still could be valid. This would be a wave 1 in the contracting diagonal, a wave 2 right there in a WXY, and literally here you have your wave 1 and your wave 2, right, which you're counting your B wave in basically your wave 2 in a flat. We would have to get a very strong impulse as a bounce to be confident that there is something bullish here, and we could consider that ABC flat here, but I'm just not seeing it with this structure. This movement up does look pretty ferocious, but we have to consider it. I mean, on the higher time frame, instead of this being a multiple 1-2, which is almost going to get invalidated at the moment, because, you know, if you get to 89,900, then there's no 2 eventually here to happen. But instead of this being a 1 and 2, you're literally combining all of this to a flat, and that would be your wave 2. This would be your wave 1. You know, as mentioned, this is like looking for bullish things. A leading diagonal here already has a low probability for a wave 1. So, you know, it's something to take into consideration only when we get a massive reversal here, like in a very strong impulse, in a very corrective, you know, rejection. If we were to get this kind of price action in the next coming days, I would say, you know, what the heck, you know, it might, you know, maybe this is a flat. You're playing with low probability scenarios, but we get that sign of strength and a correction in the coming days. It's something we might throw on the chart, right? Not throw up. We might throw on the chart to take into consideration that bullish case, but obviously, we as traders and technical analysts, we need to consider both ways. I have to say, with the information, depending on the bounce, you know, I am favoring to take out minus 87K. So we're going to have to go level by level. We need to go with the information, but there's a valid impulsive move down. There is a valid completed corrective structure, very symmetrical when we combine that WXY double zigzag. It is almost picture perfect. Okay, zigzag up, complex corrective move here in a sideways WXY finishing in a triangle. and then another zigzag up. And, you know, you start moving down impulsively. The bounce is going to tell us everything to see if we do manage to break down bare minimum 87k with the potential of breaking down in a wave 3 very aggressively. I want to be positioned aggressively on that movement down. This is the one that I want to be in, because catching highs and catching lows, for me it is very sometimes I do get aggressive. I can get very aggressive. I did get aggressive here into this long, but I realize that I'm counter trading here. You know, I'm going against the movement down, even though I love trying to long a wave 5 potential, which is the main reason we got the weekly. There is support. We got the decreasing volume as we breaking the lows. This is awesome. You know, this is a full recipe for a bounce here. So, but it's a corrective bounce potentially, right? You want to go with the trend, which is strong. So getting longs into bounces that can be corrective, I mean, they're okay to trade. You know, at the end of the day, it would be a surprise if we were to get a major impulse here to the upside. You know, it would be a very big surprise, because I would have to say that this is a wave 1 and this is an ABC running flat if we get a strong impulse here in a 5-wave structure. I would start considering that maybe a running flat is what we have here and nobody knows about it, right? So yeah, this is like the long position that we mentioned last week, right? It's all good, all nice to get into the 5th wave if you do have a flat, which we did here. And there was a flat structure. Movement down, claim the highs, and then claim the lows. You're getting into the 5th wave, right, of the flat. This was a beauty long position. You know, who would have known? Who would have known that? Would have knew, sorry, that's bad English, sorry about that. Would have knew that we get a massive rally after forming a 5-wave, right, impulsive move to the downside here. It's not something that I'm counting on, but trying to detect the 5th waves at levels of support gives you that potential bounce regardless, you know. And then it's, could this be the low? Well, every time it could be a low and it could be a high, regardless if it's an impulse or a 3-wave structure. Because then I would come with, could it be the low? I don't think so, but there is a small possibility that it could be, with this being a wave 1 and this being an ABC running flat. Running flats are rare on its own, so. But you got the 5th wave move, you know, who knows? Maybe this gets an epic rally at the weekly that everybody's, you know, gets shocked. Not something that I'm counting on, but, you know, this weekly zone and the local double bottoms is a zone to manage risk and to get positioned. None of that nonsense of going all in, because we are at dangerous territory eventually when we consider a completed WXY here, and this could be a 1-2 1-2, and instead of this being the 5th wave, it's just the 3rd wave that is hidden, and volume is going to kick in here on New York Open to the downside, and it nukes, and you know, it ends up being a multiple 1-2. We break down in a 3rd wave, and this, when we analyze where we at here from the last few months, it's definitely one of those areas that it's a dangerous area on the higher time frame, because bears do really have the chance to prioritize the movements here to the downside instead of to the upside. Anyway, let's go right away. We go through the comp section, say hello to the beautiful legends here. That weekly trying to do its job here, trying to do its job. It is getting a reaction. However, the reaction is not getting a huge, massive bounce. You know, will that bounce come in here later on throughout the next coming hours? We're gonna have to see. Let's go right away through the comment section. Smash up that like button, legends. If you do enjoy the content, This is free information, of course, sections from a random dude on YouTube that you probably don't like, but you maybe like his analysis. Where are the mods? Anyway, let's go here. Yeah, the mods are not in. Where are they? Aditya. Nico, much love to you, my man. We got somebody not being no adult entertainment content. Mark Dutch. That is right. That is right, my man. Only you are allowed for that. Hammerman is here. Much love, Mark Dutch, to you. Thanks for joining on the live stream today. Much appreciated. Aditya, much love to you, my man. I need to go through the comment section, okay, and just say hello to everybody. Steve, the point of control of the current range is extremely different for Coinbase. 87k versus Binance 91k. You use Coinbase, Devil uses Binance. Which one? Binance has by far the most volume for the centralized exchanges. It all depends on you know, that's all preferences. I've been using Bybit US dollar perpetual, which has lower volume, but I like to believe that there's more serious traders there and it's less manipulated. I do not trust Binance on its volume. I do not trust Binance on its volume. I don't know what they have. I cannot say it out loud, but I don't trust it. Very fishy past, and not going to go into details, but I just don't. You can obviously always consider the volume because the volume is there regardless. Lots of big traders do trade on Binance. Coinbase is nice because it's the biggest spot exchange in the US, which is where the biggest market is. So it all is, do you prefer Chinese? Do you prefer US? You know, where it's all, there's more traders on Binance. There's no doubt about it. Spot on Coinbase, more solid, reliable volume, in my opinion. It just really depends. I take both. I take Bybit even into consideration. I actually sometimes like to take a look at the Bybit volume. I do sometimes like to take a look at Bybit. So you know, I kind of you can take a couple into consideration. Okay. Time to long again, like yesterday. Devat, much love. BTC to 200k by March 2026. BTC price have surged 10 times more each year. Time to hold as much BTC as you can. I mean, when you do take a look at the chart, I have to say it's not looking awesome after this. You know, this movement has very high probability from the November low to be corrective. Very, very high probability. It's just something motive that starts up. In this case, it would have to be multiple 1-2s, regardless if it's 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, or your wave 2 finishes here, and this is a 1, and this would have to be a flat in your 2. Leading diagonal in a wave 1 has always the lowest probability scenario when you can count a corrective structure, which is the case, or multiple 1-2s. And to get a multiple 1-2, I mean, you need to count the leading diagonal as well in here. So this thing about Bitcoin going to 200k, you said, by March, I mean, this is like, I don't know, man, but you need to give me the number of your dealer, because I want some of that shit. You know, that's not even March right there. March is here. So yeah, we were expecting a rally here in the next 2 months, right? That is going to be like this. You know, this does not exist. This does not happen, right? Even the strongest rallies have taken a few months on Bitcoin in the bull run. Getting a shooting move here in 2 months to 200k is like, damn, give me the number of your dealer right away, because I want to be hallucinating like you. Yeah, right. Anyway, we'll move forward with that. It's a little bit of a, it's not realistic. Okay, BTC Cucumber Man. Well, the name is awesome. Name says it all. So yeah, anyway, can volume be manipulated? 100%. Of course it can. Yeah, for sure. Especially on, especially on Binance, I have to say. I am shorting, but expect a relief rally where we're a bit too oversold at the moment. Smash the like, guys. Greeting, gents. Baby Genius, much love to you. Like button smashed, says Nico. Afternoon, Andy. Long in here makes perfect sense. Only as a hedge for short. Small longs just as hedge. Yeah, I mean, it's smash the like. Crypto by Mattia, who is very short indeed. I know he is, because we've been talking about this throughout the last 1 to 2 weeks, right? Do we reject that 97, 98, 99? Awesome guy, Crypto by Mattia CBM. Go and check him out, guys. Awesome content every day on his channel. Every Thanksgiving day, BTC is higher. Interesting. Does this movement down can be identified as a sharp WXY? Open interest is also looking insane. Movement down. How is CVD going, please? We'll take a look at CVD in just a second. We've got a lot to cover today. Much love to everybody. Much love to everyone. Much love. Why so much people so mad if YouTubers are realistic on and not just full moon boy mode? Like, come on. Yeah, I need the number to. Yeah, somebody was saying as well. Michael Saylor just bought. I'm not sure how much Bitcoin. That doesn't really matter. I've seen Michael Saylor buy the entire bear market, like literally just, you know, buy. So, you know, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean absolutely anything. And there's a lot of over the counter buying as well. If I sell you my Bitcoin from my wallet, we ain't gonna do anything, right? The market ain't gonna move. If someone sells their own Bitcoin from wallets, right? And there is a lot of OTC spot buying, a lot of buying that is OTC and is not through exchanges. It's just the reality. It's the way it is. So you obviously don't impact the open market if you're buying to your neighbor 100 Bitcoin, right? Sailors buy don't matter. Yeah, long time ago, I just haven't even considered that being anything really. Michael Saylor acquires 22,300 BTC, valued at 2 billion. Unless we are loading a super cycle, says Memecat. Very true. Very true. But the reality of the chart is different. Back to the corporate job, I suppose. No more trading until Thanksgiving. See you guys. Much love, baby genius. Popping, just send the number to your dealer. We want some of that. You're smoking, says Vic Kingos. Yeah. This 200K thing. Bull is over. I mean, yeah, let's stay real here for the moment. We need to see some strong momentum here to the upside, and it's when you zoom out, really, right? When you zoom out that you realize that this ain't looking too bullish. The probabilities for this movement to the upside to be bullish are just very, very, very low. Something interesting is this price action over here, right? Funny enough, this was also in February of 2022. Big rejection from all-time high. This bounce ain't looking extremely awesome, doesn't it? We have a very similar bounce here that covers nicely as a three-wave structure. Yeah, you can speculate on multiple 1-2s, but the reality is seasonality. the reality is seasonality. January, February of 2022, 4-year cycle, January, February 2026. The bounce looks very similar to this. It just looks very, very bad. So being extremely bullish at this point is really not realistic. Let's get the bars pattern out of this movement. Really, this one right over here would be more than enough. And let's go and fast forward. Just drag it all the way up here. And you know, it might not be picture perfect, but I can tell you there are some similarities on this movement. There's no doubt about it. It's a very corrective, like of price action. Not the same, but similar. Doesn't have to be the same. We know what happened after that movement. Picture was not pretty. Picture was not pretty. So November, all-time high, top of the bull run. 4 years later, October, not November, just a month difference. Movement down, big movement down. I mean, whoever says that 4-year cycle is broken, damn, we are following just by a few weeks of difference, you know, similar movements. So, you know, this movement is very, very, very similar to the current one that we've had since November. And it is higher probability corrective, you know. So what can we say, right? If you can't see this, then you know we need to take the bullish scenario into consideration. There's no doubt about it. But bears are very much in control at this stage. We're at that moment that obviously throughout the previous, you know, the weekend, we have all of this Greenland thing and the tariffs, and man, the Arctic is like, I've been doing a bit of research eventually, right, just to be informed about what the heck's going up there. And yeah, they want control of that area for logistics, the minerals that there are, right, underneath the Greenland ice, right, in the Arctic. There's oil, there's gas, there's, you know, there's gonna be a big fight for that region in the next coming months. There's no doubt about it. And because of that, you know, people will blame the news, right? People will blame the news. Something might pop, right? Tensions are going to rise. Something might pop, and we might get the market. We might get Bitcoin really getting that rollover very aggressively, and there's going to be. We're going to blame it on the news. We're going to blame it on geopolitical events that are happening worldwide. We're going to blame it on that, right? But the charts tell us that the probabilities are very, very in favor of tackling below 87 and even getting below 80k in the next coming weeks, even not months. We're not even talking months here. We're talking weeks. This has the potential of being a completed structure. It does have the possibility, just like the possibility was here on the previous bear market, this to be completed. The timing, the symmetry, the waves, you know, it's just has the potential already to be the top. And we can fight it. We can say this bullish scenario, 200k, it doesn't matter. Bitcoin is a limited supply. It's just behind gold and silver, and it's going to pick up at some point, right? We couldn't have all of those wishful thinkings, but the reality is different on the chart. The reality is very, very different on the chart, right? So, and you know, I hope that people do understand that it's not looking pretty for that, right? Let's just stay real here. Anyway, let's go through the comment section. We're going to go through BTC may go 20 times higher this year, 2026. People already know that BTC is the future money. I have some very, very... I need to talk about something and some data on the next stream. I'm not very much a guy that talks about other stuff apart from looking for trading setups basically and possibilities, manage risk, right? We look for intraday entries and possibilities. I have to say, yesterday, the only position that was valid based on the price action for me was a short down to the lows with stop loss at 94.1k, right? That would be your invalidation if you're looking to get in the 382 Fibonacci. There's no longs to be getting in on this bounce after such an aggressive move down. So if you ask me right now, the position, this weekly level and double triple bottoms is very much realistic here, because we are looking for an intraday setup, right? I think that a bounce here to get at least to this 382 Fibonacci from these lower highs at 92.5 could be very realistic. That's kind of a minimum target area that I would want to see the price of Bitcoin hit on these double triple bottoms. So naturally I can't short down here with the breakdown with decreasing volume. I would rather look for an intraday scalp on double bottoms or triple bottoms. I think there's a relief rally here bubbling up, regardless from here or from double triple bottoms, right? If we are streaming tomorrow and we have a corrective bounce here, I'm going to say, well, maybe it's, it's sensible to look for shorts and continue the momentum. It depends on where we are when we're streaming, but it's more sensible here to look for longs based on the reason that I've explained. You have the biggest amount of volume in this region. You have decreasing volume on the movement down, and you are at support, which is the weekly. It's an intraday. You're fighting against the bearish momentum that we have in the last few days, but this is no zone for me to enter a short. So, it depends on where we are, what you're looking for. Swing shorts are in favor right now, eventually to consider, unless you're getting into the Pico top here, right, on that rejection of the anchored VWAP for that swing short entry. We were very much aware that this is already starting to look like swing short territory last week. Enter with 0.5. If you're feeling aggressive, enter with, just manage risk. I had to go in small because you're literally going with the uptrend. Yes, we are hitting resistance. It makes sense now with either one more high or not to look for the reversal. So getting positioned, and this is where, I miss on a lot of trades, trying to figure out if we are going to get one more high or not. And when you zoom out, you realize it doesn't matter if from a day trading perspective. On the higher time frame, there's high probability of rejecting from this point, regardless if you take out the high again or not. This movement down was very much anticipated, regardless if you take out the highs or not. So sometimes when you mix your day trading perspective and way of getting into setups, which double bottoms and double tops are very much a way to get into scalp day trades. When you consider a swing trade, it's like, dude, forget about if we're going to claim the high again. That this has high probability in rejecting strongly in the next few days, 1 to 2 weeks, right? With the potential of breaking down. So, give a bit of room for stop loss, enter with 0.5%. If we take out the highs and double top, you can add to that position aggressively to make it a 2%, right? And then you say, okay, we claim the high again, right? And we're going lower. But, and this is why catching the Pico top or the Pico bottom, it's one of those, you need to take them sensibly, right? And that's what I do. You can be completely different and go, very, very aggressive with 3, 5, 10% of your capital, but it's not the greatest idea, because you're going to get some of those times where you have an extended fifth wave, or you extend a bit more than you anticipated, and then you get you know, pretty hit, right? You get a pretty strong hit. Regarding that swing short, this is no place to like FOMO in, right? I'm missing the move because there will be that bounce at some stage. At some stage, you will get that bounce. And that's the one that we need to go in aggressive. I'm just curious about that movement that happened in the previous bear market. January, February of 2022, right? 4 years ago. 4 years ago, we had something very, very similar. Very, very similar. The bounce was not insane. It was not very detectable. And, you know, if we go from the highs to the lows, right? Just as we're saying today, right? There is going to be a bounce. And I like the idea of hitting 50% Fibonacci, which is common for your wave 2. We missed hitting 50% Fibonacci by a couple of $100 on the bounce, on the relief, when we've had a very, very similar corrective structure. Very, very similar to the one that we have today, right? So you could arguably discuss we're in round about this zone at the moment. We're literally trading somewhere maybe similar to this area. Is the bounce going to be shallow? Is it going to be quick? Just in a matter of, you know, 3-4 days? Maybe a week or so. This is the daily time frame. But 382 is, you know, minimum target to be hit after a potential impulse. So we are, you know, it's from the moment you get to the 382, depending on the resistance that we do have there, because maybe we got the fixed volume profile here, and man, there was the massive wall of, I mean, there we go. You know, it's the point of control. Let me just fast forward here to this range, because I mean, in this case, it would have to be the value area high of this trading zone since November. We're currently at a high volume node, kind of trading just where it is right now. I mean, that is what is acting as support a little bit at the moment with that weekly level. You have a potential 5 waiver here. The bounce at the 382 would be coming in round about the value area high. That's where we actually got rejected yesterday of this trading zone since mid-November of 2025. So if we get that bounce to 93 to 94K zone in the next coming days, or give or take a week, maybe, that is going to be the zone to really check the price action. How did we come up there? Did we come up there with a, you know, a zigzag, or are we going to form a zigzag up, zigzag down, double zigzag kind of scenario? But it would be the short to really get in as a swing, to at least get down to 87K region, right? That would be the first target zone. And this is just a little bit of mapping how the price action moves, because this price action has been so damn similar to January, February from 4 years ago. In this case, we had the point of control after breaking down with high volume. So, and the bounce missed out on the 50% Fibonacci. But you would have wanted to get into a short here, right? You need to understand you have a possible impulsive move to the downside here. Relatively quick bounce. I mean, a flat here would have fitted in. 382, 50%, point of control rejection. I mean, naturally here, the entry point would have been this one. Rejection from that point of control. And, you know, that would have been your entry at least, regardless if you're taking a bit of profit here at the lows because you're getting choppy value area low, but holding that position. So the idea for this swing short, if we do have the first the first leg of confirmation in an impulse, is we need to get that bounce at some stage, regardless if you go slightly lower here or not. I mean, a wave 3 breakdown, I would have to say it's based on how the things are worldwide and the tensions and everything. You know, Donald Trump might fart and, you know, we move down $5,000, right? And we end up realizing that we're in the wave 3 here. Let me just clean up the chart here 1 second, because I got a big mess. I really don't see this as developing a wave 3 here at the moment. I understand it could happen. You know, it could be shallow bounces and it just falls over and volume starts kicking in the middle here. And there's nothing to do. You just need to understand that it was a, you know, third wave getting developed still. It didn't look like it, but it's possible. I think that, you know, we do have a chance for the bounce, right? I understand that the chance is there as a 5-waver down, maybe with a bit of choppiness here, to get that bounce into this region. This is a beauty of an SFP level. This could be the SFP before the wave 3 or wave C. This is like the trade, if it does manage to get up there, to get into the short after having a confirmation 5-wave move down. And you need to tap that level and you need to reject. Stop loss at the high. This is the swing trade. Add to the position existing shorts on the rejection, or get into new short positions. And this would be a little bit mirroring the situation from, regardless if it happens or not, guys. It's just getting a plan here based on the information and just charting the scenarios here. It's just we're looking for something similar to this, right? 3-wave move up, movement down impulsively, bounce to at least get above the 382, because that is 77% of the times. Plus more than that, actually. It's more than 77% of the times. After an aggressive move down, over 77% of the times you do hit the 382 Fibonacci, right? And only, you know, in the 20% zone, you just hit the 236 Fibonacci. It's uncommon to have a shallow pullback down. When the movements are very, very aggressive, you do hit the 382 sometimes. When it's very, very aggressive, you get very, very shallow pullbacks. But with that knowledge and understanding the probabilities, and that we've had a decent move down already that could be at its end stages, over 77% of the times you hit the 382 Fibonacci before getting continuation down. So regardless if the low is in here or the low is a little bit lower, right, it doesn't really matter. If you break down in a wave 3 in the next coming hours between today and tomorrow, then we just have to say that, you know, that was it, right? I have to, the possibility of that happening is there. I don't think it's going to happen because of the main reason of losing the lows of yesterday with decreasing volume. That's not wave 3 behavior. This movement down is no wave 3 behavior, moving down to claim the lows of yesterday with decreasing volume, where you do have some decent support here. So I'm kind of favoring the bounce here. I'm favoring a potential bounce just for the interest to get into big short, you know. Unfortunately, I am in a smaller short position, just considering that I want to be positioned because I understand on the higher time frame we might roll over, but this is no way as close as the short that I would want to be into. But I understand that I will have the opportunity right now. Market gives you a second chance to get into the big short. I ain't foaming down here for the short position. So I'm going to remain patient. I understand that the probabilities of hitting the 382 Fibonacci is very, very high. Regardless, doesn't matter where the low is. It's all on the next move that is going to take a few days to develop. So something could happen unless we break down in a wave 3, which is just inevitable here. That it could happen. You cannot predict that. So yeah, this would be like the zone 382 to 50% Fibonacci with the value area high of this entire trading zone, because we need to get something that similar to the price action that we had here back in January, February of 2022. In this case, we had the point of control. The value area high would have been very valid as well with the golden pocket, but point of control is one, or golden pocket is one with a value area high. So in this case, this would be the sweet spot, right? Value area high, which is resistance. You kind of got the breakout here to trap all of the bulls eventually that believe that we're going to go to 100k or 102k. But yeah, obviously it is a bull trap movement back inside of the value zone with a possible impulse here. So a bounce to back test on the higher time frame is what makes more sense to get the next leg down. And that's what I see on the chart, guys. If you see something different, then let me know. Let me know, legends. So yeah, much love. I love the Elliott wave stats with fib levels. Baby genius. They can be pretty awesome. Daniel Singleton, much love to you, brother. Don't argue his words. He's just an ant. What's going on? Come on, guys. No fighting. Man, I have to be the channel where there's lots of fighting, right? One of the only channels that there's a lot of fighting in my comment section. Be nice to people, guys. We only give opinions, right? We only try to see what makes more sense. Sometimes I'll be maybe talking a bit more crap out of my mouth, and sometimes things are going to make a lot of sense, right? So we just kind of look for what makes more sense here on the chart. Just blocked popping, best way to go. I don't see him anymore. I don't attack him for no reason. 15-minute not looking so good. That is very true. SFP around 90k, says Simon Jones. Yeah, I have to say around about 90k. Yeah, this is we would have to accept that if we do not double bottom locally and it looks convincing, that SFPing from this higher low, is it an option? It is a higher time frame from last week pivot, and if we break the recent lows, do we consider the SFP here? yeah, hang on a minute. Just taking a look here at a few things. That's not nice. That's not nice. Got a couple of anchored VWAPs from the pivot lows here, which is where we are trading at. I mean, the most important anchored VWAP is from the actual low, and that is coming down at that level. So I have to say the anchored VWAP is sitting at 90k, which I like the confluence here. Simon Jones is asking about, is this a valid SFP if we do not form this local double bottom or triple bottom and we break the recent lows? Because on yesterday's live stream, our next stop, if we break the recent lows, we didn't have much levels beneath 92k, right? There's just literally nothing. The next level where I was interested, we just broke the lows yesterday. I mean, early this morning. Next level is weekly, so it is stopping here. You know, the reaction is there. We understand it's a level. Based on the local waves, we understand that it could claim the low again, or maybe twice. Just purely based on an Elliott wave perspective here, where you could have a double 1-2, a 3, and a double 4-5, right? You know, it is very much a possibility here. However, we cannot get as low as 89.8k for this wave 5. And if we were to come down here, I mean, it does not matter, because it would either be a 1-2, 1-2, another 1-2 is possible. It just wouldn't be a 5-wave structure in an impulse, because if you hit 89.8k, your wave 3 will be the smallest wave. So when we do count like this, we cannot hit 89.8k. However, you know, we'll just flip things around. It could be a multiple 1-2, still get the bounce, the reaction, still get the reaction bounce. It is a reactive zone because we have confluence. So just because of the confluence, I have to say that this is a valid SFP. It is a valid SFP. Not every pivot is an SFP. Is a good swing failure pattern, right? But if you have the anchored VWAP from the pivot low exactly at $90,000, right, where you have that higher low, we don't have much. We might we might have another level. Point of controls, previous week low. So you can SFP from previous week low. Why not? That's the Monday open, Monday low basically from last week. Previous week low. You can SFP from previous week low if you got the anchored VWAP from the pivot low of this rally of the last few months. I wouldn't go too crazy, because it might just be a very poor bounce, and then it's a multiple 1-2, and then you end up breaking down in a third wave. But it's a valid entry based on the confluence. Okay, Simon, I think it's this scenario would be invalidated though, the 5-wave move down. For this scenario, you haven't got too much room. You need to form very, very shallow double, triple bottoms, and we don't have insane support, unfortunately. We do only have previous month open, which is coming down at 90,364. That could provide a little bit of support. But yeah, let's go through the Elliott wave scenarios on the 15-minute time frame. We're going to cover them right away, so make sure to stay tuned. Smash up that like button. Guys, remember, if you want to join the trading community, you do have the link down below. It is the first link. DM me the word join. We'll give you the information right away on Telegram if you want to join the trading community, where we do have, obviously, the private updates every single day. Updates, news, altcoins, and all sorts right over there. I need to give a shout out to BTCC at the moment because they're with this insane campaign. You can read the terms and conditions from this 30% unlimited bonus. 30% of that bonus does cover, all right, the some of the losses eventually. 30%. I mean, it is a good amount. 30% is great, but this is literally you deposit 100K, you're getting 30K. You deposit $1 million, you're getting $300,000 on top of that to increase your trading capital, okay, for 30 days, okay, which is an insane bonus. I've never seen a bonus like this before in you know, since I started in crypto. Very, very attractive bonus. Take advantage. Of course, you got my main one, which is Bluffin. This is where I have most of my trading funds. But I do have, I do trade on BTCC as well, looking for day trades and that. You do have the links down below, okay, if you're interested. Bluffin, BTCC with the insane bonus. Bluffin's got also great bonuses. You do get VIP 1, which lowers your fees for the first 30 days when you use that link. Let's cover the lower time frame Elliott wave scenarios, because we haven't focused on them, regardless if we are looking for support here. A little bit of choppiness, double bottom, triple bottom. The bears are in control without a doubt. We're just speculating on that bounce right now because we do have a valid fifth wave potential at the moment, because we've got decreasing volume, right? That's one of the main reasons as well. Decreasing volume into support, which is that weekly level that we're fighting at the moment. So you know, it is getting a reaction throughout today. It is finding support. Bulls are not stepping in as of yet. It can be a bit wicky at the lows, but it's one of those zones where it's it gets wicky and then it bounces, right? It gets wicky, and then it gets the bounce. Okay. So, you know, slowing down at the moment, decreasing volume. Double, triple bottoms here is realistic. It is realistic. Let's cover a little bit of, let's go through the comment section. Pathmania, popping, get lost. You mad because you lost 810K and you should blame only on yourself. What happened? What's the matter? Who's mad? Come on, guys. Come on, guys. No fighting. No fighting here. Come on. We are here. We are here to be friends. We are here to smash up the like button. Come on. Support each other. Come on, legends. We are here in this together. We are here in this together. We are here in this together. Pop in. I'm not sure what's going on, meme cat in here, but only love to share here. Crypto Cowboy, Oz. I can feel a break below the 200-week moving average coming. Bad news for some. It means a 56K BTC. On the higher time frame, yeah, there's no doubt about it. On the higher time frame, the direction is very much to the downside, based on this, the similarities that we got from this, right? And the price action from January, February, March, April of 2022, 4 years ago, in this same area where we at. Very, very similar price action. A lot of tensions going on. Perfect at the top. Perfect to go to lower prices in the next coming weeks. It's because of the tensions that there is worldwide, geopolitical tensions. Want to fight for the Arctic and Greenland, China, Russia, USA, Europe involved, of course. And it's kind of the perfect storm, right, to see something pop, something, tensions escalating, right, in the next coming weeks, and for the price to just nuke down, right? Charts favor it. What's going around the world does favor it as well. So Any bounces, I think, from at this point should be taken as opportunity to short. That's what I am leaning on at the moment. Let me take a look at the poll right away, because this poll is interesting. We got over 500 votes. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, 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 ay. Madre mia. What comes first for Bitcoin? We were hitting 54% yesterday, 98k plus. What happened? What happened? People are favoring more, minus 87k here locally, based on the momentum, based on the fifth wave, right? Me also. But I'm favoring a bounce, I can tell you that. I am favoring a bounce here, and the bounce is going to be the opportunity moment. And I would really prefer to see this lower high being swept. Not sure if we're going to manage to reach there, guys. Not sure how many lows we're going to create. Not sure if we are going to end up breaking down in a third wave. Volume starts kicking in here. This could happen. Where, yeah, you have decreasing volume. That's all good and nice. Speculating on that reversal bounce. But multiple 1-2s to break down in a third wave, just because I realized yesterday, even though this is like a visual effect where this movement does look bigger than this one, right? It does look stronger just because of the volatility and the volume, but it's actually a smaller wave from this one. Just because of that, you need to consider this being a second wave 1-2, 1-2, even though your second wave 2 did not overlap this pivot, and then this is like it looks like a 5 waver, but it's not. And this ends up breaking down, and you're gonna have to restructure everything here. It breaks down with high volume, and all of this is just a 1-2, 1-2, 3, and then you get your 4 and 5 later on, right? And it's just like already nuking down to much lower prices. It's one of those positions that that there is at the moment where we cannot be aggressive counter trading this momentum, because what you're literally speculating on here in regarding longs is literally a corrective bounce, right? Any longs here for me is speculating on a corrective bounce, and realizing that the dangers of breaking down in the wave 3 is very real. It is there. So you don't want to go. I would rather get more aggressive, to keep these potential longs small on the double triple bottoms. Keep them small. It's not an area to really fuck around, we would say, with longs. And where the big shorts should be taken is on the bounce, if the bounce is given, right? If the bounce is given, a lower high eventually is what is more attractive to get that bigger move to the downside, right, throughout the next 1 to 2 weeks. This is like the highest probability movement here to happen based on this structure and the local move down. Just when you map up the situation, the bears are very much in control at this point, so the bouncers just are looking very, very attractive. Of course, you're going to get the people that do FOMO into the shorts, so this is why an internal short squeeze to get that bounce, so we can get into a new position or add to existing shorts if you do have them as a swing, right, would be the opportunity. But not sure if we're going to get that opportunity, right? All really depends on how we chop around in this zone. Double bottom could be acceptable. We're going to have to see here how we do claim the low. Weekly level not managing to maintain. So we're probably going to take out the low at the moment And let's see, let's put our levels here. Previous month open. Lower has not been tested as of yet. Oh, New York open right now. So let's just quickly take a look at the S&P 500. I think, is it bearish or is it pumping? New York open with a pump. New York open with a little pump. New York open here with a small little bounce. Bitcoin not quite managing to hit those lows. Getting very, very close to hit the lows. Maybe on some exchanges it did take out the lows. Let's go, let's go. Missed the lows by a couple of dollars. When you miss the lows by a couple of dollars, it is... you do usually take it out later on. Let's go through the comment section and see what the people are saying. Lots of people, over 500 votes favoring the 87k minus 87k. Much love to everybody. The Federal Reserve putting 8.8 billion into markets today. Interesting, interesting. I'm just gonna get a sip of water. We got over 600 people watching the stream, guys. Make sure to destroy that like button, guys. If you do enjoy the content, we've been very much focusing on what happened in January, February, March of 2022. Very, very similar price action, very similar peaking point here, possibly on the higher time frame. This could be the highs for Bitcoin for many, many months, many months, right? It's just like also this high at $116,000. We never came back, right? For the moment, we never came back. And that's also looking at Bitcoin. Very, very similar. This could be a major pivot high on the higher time frame. Very, very similar to the one that we had here in April of 2022, right? Where this will be the high, right? For many, many months to come. We are at one of those stages right now on Bitcoin on the higher time frame where, you know, this 97.9k could be the high for many months. Based on what we have, similarities, geopolitical tensions, things can get even heating up throughout the next coming weeks. And back inside of the value area of the zone since November. So it makes sense to... The swing trade eventually is the bounce for me. The bounce here is going to be high probability, lower high. So will we get that bounce? Hopefully we will, guys, right? Relief rally, 92, 93. We're going to have to see. Anyway, if you do enjoy the content, guys, smash up the like button. If you're new, welcome to the channel. Let me just take a drink of water, stretch my legs, and I will go around the table till that like button hits 300. Come on, legends. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. Okay. Vámonos, vámonos. Anything else that we can talk about? Anything else that we can talk about here? Bitcoin with that cheeky missed the low. Missing the low here for that local double bottom. Reclaiming the weekly again. Getting a little bounce. Need to cover the Elliott wave scenarios. Okay, I need to cover the Elliott wave scenarios here. From the movement that we've got here to the downside. I have to say, there is a bullish scenario, but it's not very realistic at this point, because this would have to be the higher low to be defended. This would have to be the higher low to be defended. There is actually a bullish count for this to be corrective, even though, man, it's a little bit of wish. Come on, you lazy boogers. 237 likes. Only 20 people hitting the like button out of over 600 people. You lazy motherfuckers. Smash up the like button. Give us a hand here. I'm only here giving love to everybody, reading the comment section, going through the charts. I know a lot of people do that. Don't trade on Bybit. These are scam wicks. Andy, check out US dollar tether dominance on the macro. We can take a look at that. BTC wicked lower on Bybit, at least. I used to like Bybit a lot. For the lows and highs to be wicked. Okay, now the like button. Sometimes we need to be a little bit hard and, you know, give a little cheeky swear word here for the people to smash the damn like button. I'm not going to ask you anymore, okay? Excuse my language for all of those that do not like that. Bybit US dollar, we did not. Maybe US dollar tether. I'm going to take a look at Baby Genius here. He did say take a look at the Bitcoin. My God, come on, guys. Baby Genius, thanks for the support. Andy, please, can you check invalidation levels for the current scenarios? Absolutely. Lazy motherfuckers, lol. Rebel Moon. Baby, check out US dollar tether dominance. We can do that. Anyway, Bybit US dollar tether, maybe on the exchange it did. Maybe on some exchanges that low was hit. But when you get so close to a low, when you have this range, you usually take it later on, even though you haven't. Usually this bounce is weak and it just takes it at some point, right? So yeah, we'll be eyeing that scenario. Let me just take a look at the US dollar tether dominance, which, man, I haven't charted this in a long time, or ever, I think. Oh yeah, there's some boxes here. US dollar tether dominance. We're just in a range at the moment, but got a bit of an inverted head and shoulder situation here coming into this resistance zone, right? We did find resistance in this zone and support. So US dollar tether dominance going up is not great, right? It's not great for crypto. That means that people rather hold cash, stable coins, than actually having crypto, right? Bitcoin dominance going down is when things are looking great. That's what happened here throughout end of 23, beginning of 24, right? Where altcoins got a major rally. They got a major pop. Some of them doing a 3, 4, 5x, right? People getting excited. And then we had a little one also here throughout the end of 2024 also, right? October, November, we had some pretty nice spikes on some altcoins in that period. And it's a little bit of an inverted head and shoulder situation coming to a neckline that we are not projecting very successfully here, and it's consolidating. That is never a good sign. If you hit a level of resistance, you want to wick it, back test it, and go. You don't want to come up to it and form a bull flag, right? Consolidate in that region. This is just gearing up for the breakout, right? So yeah, this is US dollar tether dominance is looking bullish. It is looking quite bullish. Very, very bottom reversal rangy scenario, tackling the highs of the range again from 2024 and 2025. Yeah, major pullbacks could happen in this region, but I do believe that it could break out here. It could break out. We actually did we test this pivot high and got the rejection? We barely missed it. Barely missed it right there. It could fake out from it still. It could fake out from it. But I think the realistic at this stage, with this inverted head and shoulder situation and tackling the neckline and consolidating here for several weeks, it points out that a potential breakout to the upside. Very, very corrective rejection. Very three wavy, bouncing back up at the moment, unless it's a multiple 1-2. But it's looking promising for people to prefer to hold stables, and this could be just the perfect storm when geopolitical tensions increase in the coming weeks, that people want to hold cash. It's the natural sentiment of the human being that when there is tensions worldwide and potential tariffs, economic crisis, whatever, I mean, people have learnt, and gold and silver have been absolutely mooning, but cash is still, you still pay food and fuel your tank to drive your car with cash, right? So people like to hold cash and sell assets, right, when things are not looking too pretty. Gold and silver, they are obviously leading the way, but they're very, very high at the moment. So in the case of stable coins, which is dollars, US dollar tether, it would make sense that this breakout if tensions do increase. Because I can tell you, people don't want to hold Shiba Inu, right? They'd rather hold dollars when things are not looking too pretty worldwide. So it does look like on the chart that it is just getting ready for something to pop worldwide. The charts are screaming the situation right now at resistance, that this is just waiting for something to happen to break out, right? And obviously US dollar tether dominance moving up to 7-8%, right, would bring a significant correction in the crypto market. So Bybit is shite. They trade against. I wouldn't say, I mean, all the moves are basically similar. All the moves are similar on exchanges. You might get a little bit of difference on some different exchanges. But overall, they work very, very similar. You might get some wicks. Binance for me is the worst regarding wicks. I know, much love to you, my man. Isn't that just basically correlated to BTC? Like, does it actually have nothing to do increasing absolute amount of tether, though? No, I mean, the dominance is very important. US dollar tether dominance is extremely important. You will realize when the dominance of stable coins goes down is when the altcoins do rally. You take a look at the timing from this movement and take a look at the altcoin charts. I can tell you that most of them were going up. And obviously with this movement up, the altcoins are not doing that great, right? Crypto in general, right? Since October, right? September bottomed out. August, September, October got the rally. October was the top, literally, right? All of this rally has been crypto going down, and things can get worse eventually by tackling this resistance. So you can see the negative correlation, right? Dominance goes down, crypto goes up. Dominance goes up, crypto goes down. So it's an important role. Ethereum hard dumping. We've got the Bitcoin dumping at the moment. Let's take a look here. Oh yeah, getting that breakdown on the low here with increasing volume. Let's take a look at the CVD here. Lots of stuff to talk about. Breaking the low at the moment, so no double bottom. No double bottom. Just breaking the low. Some internal bearish CVDs on Bybit. Slightly higher highs, lower highs on price action, and now just lower lows and lower lows on some exchanges, which is nothing. Previous month open, getting a little reaction. Previous month open, little reaction right there. Still okay for the choppiness here. This is very much what that's the common activity when you have the possibility here of that wave 5 formation. We are very, very close on invalidating the impulse here. Very, very close on invalidating the impulsive move for this to be a wave 5. You do not want to hit to have an impulse here, the 89,842. So I mean, if anybody's speculating on a bounce here, instead of trying to catch the ultimate double bottom or the exact low position, the hard invalidation for this scenario, which is still very much active, is 89.8K literally. So this is the same as speculating yesterday, right, on the wave 4, which back tested to perfection that yearly level. Oh my goodness, I did not have that on the chart yesterday, but it is an attempt. The risk reward is not huge. Speculating on bounces on the 5th wave, they can be complex. It all depends on how much you're risking, but your hard invalidation for this to be the correct count is 89,842, even though it is a level where you might wick and get an SFP because you do have the anchored VWAP, right? Simon Jones was asking about that level. It's the anchored VWAP from the low is literally at 90K, so you could get that reaction and bounce regardless if it's the invalidation for the wave 5 here. But this is like yesterday, right? Yesterday we were talking about if this is going to be a wave 4, you don't want the price to hit the golden pocket. That's your invalidation. Do you want to attempt a short? You know, you need to have an invalidation for your stop loss. Do you want to get into the 382? If anybody wants to wait for the 50%, well, you did not get the 50%, right? It did not happen. The invalidation is golden pocket. You're targeting the lows. That's your first target. Risk reward is not that insane. Obviously, you can hold the bearish momentum, but you're targeting the lows, literally. Invalidation is golden pocket. Entry zone 382 to 50%, right? Regardless if you're going in with 0.5%, 1%, 2%, right? It's a day trade to the lows, right? Could turn into a swing, yeah. Well, this is why, you know, we position ourselves and take profit as we go and leave some open, right? Catching, you know, trying to predict the wave 5 here at levels of support. does bring its risks eventually, because you're counter trading. You're actually trying to predict the bounce here of a serious downtrend right at the moment. So the bounces that look corrective in a downtrend, you know, they are better to follow the trend literally. Wave 5s, or you know, trying to catch a wave 3, counter trading, you're trying to long the bounce literally. You're speculating on the corrective bounce, right, in the trend which is down. So obviously it's against the trend, which obviously you need to be an absolute ninja on your risk management, right? You can't play around here with you would rather want to go bigger on shorts at this stage, right, on the bounces, than trying to really look for the reversal bounce, because the risk to reward is not going to be that great, because the bounce can be shallow, the bounce can be a little bit higher, but you're looking to get into the bounce, not the impulse, right? Not the potential impulse to the downside. So when you ask me about that, you know, if this is going to be the correct count, always being aware of the wave 3 breakdown, which is it is eventually very, very possible where things just get so aggressive right now, the market's so bearish that it just continues nuking, and you need to consider that 1 2 1 2, and maybe wave 3 starts from here. Maybe this has been a very, very shallow 1 and 2, and you got high volume kicking in here throughout the next coming hours, right? If the price action were to nuke from here, right, and then stops eventually at 87, forms an SFP, then forms another low, right? This would have to be the count, where you're just literally having your wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5, and all of this volume starts increasing from now to just nuke down, and that would be your count. All of this would be your wave 3 literally, where you have your 1 2 3 4 5. You got your 5 waver here to be your wave 3. You know, it's one of those one of those areas where you just want to be particularly defensive and not go very aggressive on longs, because this is the zone where it becomes dangerous for longs, and we should be more excited on the bounces to short, realizing where we at, right? Realizing what we do have. It's fine to get into long scalps. It's, you know, I have to say I enjoy scalp shorts and longs regardless if we're downtrending or uptrending. I understand my invalidations, so they are acceptable to be taken as scalps. But on the higher time frame, when we do compare as well the similarities that we do have from this price action, I mean, it's just the perfect perfect pattern, right, to compare. And it's actually in the same quarter of the 4-year cycle theory, right? We're in the same quarter of the 4-year cycle theory where we got the drop already in Q4 of the 4-year cycle theory, where it tops November 22, October 26. Where did this happen? Well, it happened in Q1 of 2022. Where is this happening? It's happening in Q1 of 2026. So, you know, it's not the same, but it does rhyme. Let's leave it that way. And the similarities to this move, holy smokes, you know, it's just almost the same. So naturally, the sentiment on the higher time frame is down. Having the having basically the probabilities of this movement down to be impulsive, or multiple 1-2s, or you're finishing your 5th wave. Do we get that bounce in a wave 2, or do we break down directly in a wave 3? So longs should be taken with extreme risk management here. There's no zone to play around with longs and get trapped. Do not get trapped in long positions when you attempt them here. We want to be more aggressive with shorts. Whoever catched the 97k region, absolutely wonderful. I think there will be an opportunity at some stage in the coming days. We get some kind of a internal short squeeze that does get a bounce to the 382 at a bare minimum when we are finished with this downside momentum. We can connect the dots. We can try and figure out if we are in this wave 5 or do we break down in a wave 3. If volume does increase throughout the next coming hours between today and tomorrow, and then we get the choppiness, then that would favor eventually the bounce. Wave 3 is inside in this zone if volume increases down. And then the bounce eventually naturally to at least the 382 Fibonacci. If that's when it's going to be becoming very, very interesting to go heavy into the short, in my opinion. So we're going to have to see how it develops naturally. But yeah, this is like very, very similar, guys. Very, very similar price action. Not the same, but you can see, and that's literally the price action that we had in Q1 of 2022 in the middle of the bear market, right? So something that we just need to be aware. Great fractal, Andy. I was showing that same exact one last week on my streams. I think it's too similar. It's so similar. Divine Hood, shout out to you, my man. Go and check out Divine Hood. He also does technical analysis. He's got a YouTube channel, guys. Go and check him out. I think it's Divine Hood Trading or Divine Hood Crypto. Shout out to you, my man. Much love. Hope you're doing well. Heavy enough, baby genius. Would love to see $80,000. I'm riding the same train on my my short. Oh man, my short is printing. Went in heavy at 97k. TP1 80k. Breakfast is on me after tennis, I suppose. Ooh. Let's go. Let's go. I've got a very, very small short position. I didn't go too aggressive. But I think there could be a bit of time on that bounce. Yeah, Shiba Inu, Dog Inu, Beagle Inu is screaming here to go out. Show us your dogs on the stream. I'll get them ready on the stream tomorrow. So volume did increase. It is increasing ever so slightly here on this movement down. Running out of support levels. It's one of those areas. One of those areas that the bulls really want to defend. That 89.9k, because wave 3 could be on the development here. Yeah, this is literally moving down with increasing volume. I'm eager to see what's the stock market doing here. Bit of a pump and dump situation. We know those tensions that they are worldwide at the moment, and where we are on the chart, it's like the perfect storm. Perfect storm to blame Trump, right, at a very, very technical pivot high here on the correction, to blame all of the dump that could happen, right, with that fractal basically also from 2022. Perfect moment, right, to blame it on the tension. So this scenario is literally, this count for the 5-wave move down is literally on the verge of getting invalidated. And with that with that said, the risks of breaking down in a wave 3 is very, very high. Little reaction bounce on that anchored VWAP that we do have from the lows. It is there. You know, you're literally speculating on the bounces here. SFP from this higher low is a very, very scalp entry, low capital, 2-to-1, 3-to-1 risk to reward bounce. Be happy if the market gives that to you. This ain't no swing long area to go to 100k. This is a reactionary trade for a scalp that might bounce to the VWAP maybe, right? Looking for maybe a small little reaction bounce if you do SFP from that low. Oh, VWAP got resistance here. Almost tapped it. We do not tap it. But we need to understand the differences of swing trades and scalps, right? This would be a possible bounce of $500 to $1,000. Will it get a bigger bounce or not? It's just the positioning of this trade on this SFP and hitting that anchored VWAP from the pivot low of November, which is 80,500. We know these major pivot anchored VWAPs, from the highs that we have on the higher time frame and the lows. What happened with the anchored VWAP from the highs? We got rejected last week, right? The highest pivot from the downtrend all-time high, anchored VWAP, got rejected. The lowest pivot that we have, which is $80K, $80,500, right, from November. This is only a reactionary level. Get below the VWAP, get above that higher low. It's a potential internal bounce. If you are happy to get into one of these bounces, right, in this downtrend, this anchored VWAP is one of them. Just understand that it's not a swing trade entry. It's just to get into an internal bounce reaction level. Might bounce $500. It might bounce $2,000. Right? Bounce might be very weak, might be very strong. You just don't know. But it's a level where to bounce. That's for sure. We know that. We know how to manage these trades. You literally wick beneath the level and react above it, and you can attempt that 2-to-1, 3-to-1 risk reward trade setup here. If you break that level and you maintain beneath the level, then look no further. This is serious going on here with multiple 1-2s, third wave. If it increases with volume, if we start spiking above the volume from the drop that we had on Monday, then we could be going aggressively to 87K already by tonight. Right, so not a zone to play around with longs if you do not know how to manage your risk. This is a zone where you do not want to get into adding to longs. I'm putting here 5%, 10%. I'm just adding to the long because this is a wrecked zone for the long traders. Okay, so it's a zone to manage risk very, very well. Okay, and as we lost the previous low and we maintained beneath the previous low, what can we say? So right now we're getting beneath the anchored VWAP and that pivot. We either break down with increasing volume or we get an internal reaction. Currently trading beneath the level. That wave 5 has been invalidated, so it's not extremely sexy, I have to say. For any big ABC bounce right now, this 5-wave move has been invalidated, so we just need to be aware of that wave 3 or forming another 1-2. So you got 1-2, 1-2. If it does react here and get that internal bounce, just for another 1-2 and just nuke throughout the next coming days if it doesn't nuke already from here. Currently trading beneath the anchored VWAP. Just want to see if we do have any other major levels. Yeah, it is trading beneath the level here, so not looking too pretty. We don't have massive, yeah, there's not really much support here. Anchored VWAP with that higher low. If this doesn't get back above, then we go south. We go south. Volume not increasing drastically, I have to say. Well, that could change in a matter of minutes, right? You just get the big volume kicking in here and dropping a few $1,000s. It's the only major level that we do have. I have no naked point controls in that region. Not much here going on regarding levels of confluence. Maybe have that higher low support trend. That's even slightly lower than anchored VWAP. Might get a little reaction bounce here. Might get a little squeeze up. Anchored VWAP getting above at the moment. First little reaction, but very aggressive momentum. You know, this is the thing. When you get these aggressive move downs, you're literally trying to catch. I mean, it is an important level, as explained. But you're literally trying to speculate on the bounce, right? You're speculating on the bounce here, regardless if it's going to be strong or not, right? You're literally speculating on the reaction bounce, which is, you know, as explained, you know, it is getting a $300-400 reaction bounce at the moment. The anchored VWAP. Treat it as a scalp. Be defensive. You know. Don't jump in on the trade, right, when it's already bounced $1,000. You know, you either get into the reaction at the exact low to manage risk and have a better position, or you just don't get into the trade. This is counter trading. This is going against the momentum. Yes, you can speculate on levels to react and swing failure pattern, but this is not for people that do not manage risk, basically. This is not for people that do not manage risk. You know, if you're going to be that type of guy that has no stop loss or has a stop loss down here and is ready to add to the position because it's going to bounce at some stage, then you are not playing this game defensively, right? You're not playing this game as it should. Realizing the risks that they are, realizing that at the moment, what is favoring the scenarios is the bearish one. You know, this is either the 5-wave move down has literally been invalidated, And if you haven't got an impulse down here, then what you're looking at is multiple 1-2s. And that is never good for the bulls. You know, you literally, if wave 3 does not develop here throughout the next coming hours, you're probably going to get that bounce and a lower high. And wave 3 will be developed maybe, you know, tomorrow or Thursday, right? If it does not decide to break down today, because this has been invalidated as a 5-wave move down. So what are the chances do you have? Well, another 1-2. Another 1 and 2. This is your invalidation right over here for the second wave 2. If it does not break down in a third wave already. So it's either this or this at this stage, because a 5-wave move down has been invalidated. So it's either multiple 1-2s, or you get one more 1 and 2, or your wave 3 is about cooking at the moment. So it's not really a great zone to say go long and add to long positions or any of that nonsense. Understanding the risks that they are at the moment is just not worth it to go max long. Anyway, let's go short term. 90,800 key if want to go higher. Just wait for the retest of market structure and Ethereum breaking down in wave 3. Nice dump down. Let's take a look at Ethereum, because Bitcoin might just follow on here with Ethereum. Divine Hood, shout out to you, brother. Oof. Big move down on Ethereum here. Still with kind of decreasing volume, a little bit of decreasing volume here on Ethereum. Still slightly lower volume. Still slightly lower volume here. Similar to Bitcoin from this one. Movement down is more aggressive. Interesting. Big sweep of the lows. Big sweep. No swing failure pattern. Just a big move down. I mean, if Bitcoin bounces naturally here from this zone, I haven't been charting Ethereum for quite a long time at the moment, so I don't have any levels or any scenarios regarding that. But yeah, big move down here on Ethereum. Bitcoin right at the moment at the anchored VWAP from the 80k low, trying to get that reaction. Major pivot, major anchored VWAP pivot, but it doesn't mean anything really. You just get a reaction as it's getting right now, and this reaction is a few $100 bounce. Might form a lower high and just break down later on in the next hour or two. So any scalps should be treated, as the word says, as scalps. Because this ain't no zone to play around with swing trades, swing longs. It is not the zone to do so. Let me just refresh this. Not too promising. Not too promising. Very, very small bounce. Coming back down beneath the pivot. Interesting that you do have decreasing volume though on the momentum. That's an interesting take, that you do have decreasing volume here, but that could definitely change in the next coming hours. Yeah, literally just sitting on top of that anchored VWAP. In the case of the highs of last week, we did get above it by a couple of $100. It did get above the anchored VWAP by a few $100. That's where we did get the rejection last week. We only just got down beneath this anchored VWAP about $100, give or take. Usually these higher time frame ones do get, yeah, about $100, almost $200. It is reacting to it. It's just not looking too promising. What are the people saying? So we are just about $3,000 away from 87K at this moment. We are very, very close to the poll here. Get your votes in, legends. What comes first for Bitcoin? 87K, minus 87K, 62%. There's actually a lot of people favoring the plus 98K here. Still 38%. I'm surprised. So people are really speculating on the possibility of getting a higher low at this point to really bounce all the way up to $98,000. We definitely have an issue with that regarding about this being corrective, this movement down. Analyzing this, so a 5-wave move to the downside has been invalidated at the moment. Purely based on what I explained here, literally hit that invalidation because your wave 3 is the smallest wave at this moment. Doesn't mean you cannot get the bounce, right? I mean, this is a scalp day trade level to enter a little trade. Okay, it's a reactionary level, but when we consider the higher time frame movement as an impulse, it literally has been invalidated at this moment. So what makes more sense here is if the price does not break down from here in that wave 3, multiple 1-2s is what makes the most sense at the moment. 1-2, 1-2. And if you do get a significant bounce here throughout the next coming hours at this level of support, which is the anchored VWAP and that higher low SFP, what would make more sense here is to look for another wave 2. And your invalidation for your multiple 1-2s is this lower high at 93.4K. So preferably preferably this bounce does get at least above the 382 Fibonacci from this lower high to the next low. When we do take a look at this to this low, we just barely scratched the 382 Fibonacci. But you know, when you have a leg to the downside as an impulse and you do get that bounce, 382 Fibonacci is usually the minimum target that you want to hit here for a wave 2. It is common to hit 50% to the 7-8 zone, but when the market's just feeling too bearish and the bounces are so poor that it just can't, you know, it doesn't manage to go to higher levels. But the 382 is like the as explained, it's over 77% of the times after a finished move that you do at least get to the 382 Fibonacci. So it's very, very common, right, to hit at least the 382. When we do take a look at the wave to the downside that we had on Monday here, and we take a look at this bounce, we rejected at the 382 Fibonacci. Right, 382 from this move, 382 from this move. So if this move is finished, we're getting supported at right now at the anchored VWAP. If we're considering the multiple 1-2, you at least want to get to the 382 Fibonacci, which is coming in right now at 91.1k. I mean, we were just trading there a few hours ago, so it's not that far away. We're halfway through the bounce here. So you don't want to get too bearish either, right? When you've moved down aggressively, but sometimes the price is just going to form shallow bounces. Right now, what makes more sense is the multiple 1-2, I have to say. And naturally, you would want to see a bounce at least above 91.1, with the potential to get to 92.5, which is the 7-8, this being your invalidation, when you're speculating for a bigger move to happen potentially in the next coming days as a wave 3, if that is not happening, you know, tonight. So yeah, just interesting here. We do not have a 5-wave move down. If the bounce is going to be extremely powerful, then what do we have, right? Just imagine that we do get an explosive bounce from here, then we would have to cover, well, what the heck is happening if it's not multiple 1-2s, and we're literally just mooning here, right? That's when I need to zoom out a little bit and obviously understand what we do have here. So impulse down has been invalidated at the moment. It would just make sense that the bounce also could be weak, and this could be a weak bounce and you just roll over tonight, right? And then your high volume increases here, and that's when you want to label all of this as your wave 3. And you have 1-2, 1-2, you know, your third wave, 4 and 5. We just continue grinding down. Nice little reaction bounce of $500-600 from the anchored VWAP, guys. Anybody that wanted to get into this long, you already want to start thinking of getting out. Take some profits, leave some open, have a defensive trade, right? Anybody that speculated on that anchored VWAP and higher low reaction, you want to treat this as a aggressive scalp entry, and you're counter trading at this moment. You're just looking at levels of support to get into that, little trade. You did not double bottom from this low, and the only interesting level to get this bounce is that SFP from the lows of last Monday with the anchored VWAP. This ain't a zone to play around. If you did not catch that entry, naturally, I would not be looking for a long entry here, right? And stop loss here. It's just we don't have major targets, unfortunately, for this trade. So, you know, if you do not get the entry where you need to get in, where you can position yourself and you're going to have a free trade, there's just no entry here. It would be suicidal. You get into the pivot reaction or you don't. And you always consider the double bottom. Entry, stop loss, bounce, protect, take profit, see if it does manage to get a bigger bounce, right? If it's not from here, it might be from here, but you need to double bottom, right? You don't get into longs as the price is going, you know, beneath the level and breaking down, right? We teach this a lot every day on the streams. You either get in where you need to get in or you don't. And you just, you know, 2-to-1 risk reward, take profits. It's counter trading at this point. You don't want to play around. Of course, the shorts are very, very difficult. Shorts are very, very difficult naturally here because you want a bit of a bigger bounce. I could only give you the realistic short here, which would be, you know, at least getting above the recent lower highs of today and reject from them, which would be 382 to 50% Fibonacci. If you break today's lower highs, difficult zone. Golden pocket is literally at the support resistance flip. I think I would only have 2 pivots as guidelines here if this is going to be a multiple 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. If this is the scenario before breaking down in a wave 3, that's if you don't break down in a wave 3 tonight and volume increases on the breakdown. No longs to be taken here anywhere, in my opinion. Not worth it beneath the anchored VWAP, or just really not. Just being aware of the wave 3 breakdown, right? You do not want to counter trade, you know, when you're getting a big breakdown, right? You just don't want to. It is true that we do have point of control down at 87.5, but yeah, it's just not attractive for me. If you are going to break down with high volume, right? Nuke down. If anything, if you were like want to catch a falling knife bounce, I think, you know, if you're going to form a wave 3 here between today, if not get a bounce and then break down tomorrow, if I wanted to catch a falling knife, it's always good to get them ready, because you do get very much big reactions on, you know, at specific levels. If there's very, very good confluence and you drop down $3,000-$4,000, right, as a very nuking scenario, I wouldn't treat the point of control as the pivot. I would treat these higher lows after sweeping the liquidity at 86.5 with the value area low. That is a pivot higher low for a kind of a very aggressive, catch the bounce, catch the liquidity grab, and still treat it as a day trade, because you naturally could just form that wave 3 bounce, and point of control acts as resistance 4, 5, 4, and 5, and then you get the bigger relief rally in the throughout next week. But this would be only for a little day trade. It's always good to get positioned into these kind of trading setups with a small position, because the bounce could surprise you, and it does bounce $1,000 or $2,000, right? But if I'm considering a new short position, right? Because I mean, if you're looking to short down here at support, it's difficult for invalidation. It's a difficult it's difficult for stop losses. Right, I cannot enter a short down here. Right, it's all about, am I going to put a stop loss beneath the lower highs of today? You know, it's just, no. Do I put it here? Well, then, you know, I'm speculating on the wave 3 to happen. It might not happen. You just don't want to get into a short down here, right? It's just not. You'd rather look for longs at very, very specific levels, just because that you get a very, very good entry and good risk management, right? You enter on the getting above the anchored VWAP, stop loss, you get a bounce, 2-3 to 1 risk reward. You start protecting your position to run a free risk trade. You know, shorting this bounce at this moment, I cannot get in here. I would need to realize the higher time frame downtrend and understand, okay, 1 2 3 4 5 invalidated. So what's left based on the bearish scenario is 1 2 1 2 1 2. Where do we get at least on the wave 2? You at least get to the 382. So you know, I would not be interested in looking for a short here. At least getting above the 382, which is 91.2k. So you know, I think the shorting plan for me to rejoin a new trade or add to my existing short trade would be a new trading short position. If the price rallies here directly into this zone and it does not consolidate and move up in a 3-wave structure where it's a little bit more symmetrical, it would be too soon to consider the rejection. If we move up in a straight line here, I would understand that this is low probability. It's very likely that it's going to do this correction and then move higher and then maybe move down later, right? You need that symmetry, right? The first move up after creating a low, if it's very aggressive, you need to wait, because it will likely form a 3-wave later on. So I think it's a matter of being a little bit patient here. You either move up like this, and if it does move up like this throughout the next couple of days, then this could be an interesting short. Lower highs, 382 Fibonacci, right? You need a bit of time. You need a bit of symmetry in between the waves. Not straight up. This has to be the short. So it's important here to move slowly into this zone in a 3-wave structure. Lower highs of yesterday, 382 Fibonacci. If you do not SFP from that, then what we could be looking at is the golden pocket. High volume move down. This, most of the times, this does act as very strong resistance. A high volume node candle with the golden pocket from the high to the low is a acceptable level here for a rejection, especially if you move up like this. So it's either, you know, I would be looking for this price action. If it does, I mean, this is for a new short. If I wanted to get into a new short here, we'd have to move similar to this. If it moves fast to 91.4k, I think it's going to form another range or another bounce. If it moves up there here slowly like this, then yes, this could be an interesting short. If it doesn't, then this one could be the short. But if it moves fast to this level, I think it could claim the highs again. Then obviously not interested locally here. I would be more interested in the 3-wave structure. You always look for that 3-wave move. So yeah, let's there's not much more I can say for a new short position. Eventually down here, there's no way I could get into a short here. Need a little bit of a bounce, understanding the structure, understanding what we got. 5-wave down invalidated. Wave 3 is your smallest wave. Multiple 1-2s is what makes more sense. Eventually you want that bounce at least in a 3-wave structure here. to get developed to even consider attempting that short. High volume move down. When you get a big move down with high volume, just as we got the high volume move to the upside a few days ago, right? Last week. High volume highs do provide support. Resistance support flip. However, with increasing volume, it gives you a little bit of more confidence that you are going to get that bounce at that specific level, regardless if you roll over later. So naturally, with this explanation, the high volume breakdown is going to be a big wall. You've got volume to back it up. Elliott wave theory, 1 2 1 2 1 2. Big volume, support, resistance, flip. So but you want to see that three waver. Don't go straight up into the level, because then we probably see something different. You need to have that staircase up kind of price action, right? You need to have that staircase up kind of price action to consider the short. Anyway, it might not happen. We might not get that bounce to those levels. If you did get into the long here, treat it as a scalp, right? You got a 2-to-1 risk reward already. It's only a scalp, guys. We don't have any major swing setups here. Whoever got into that long, then you're in the profit. Takes half, protect the rest. We don't have any other trading setup at the moment. That was the only one. We had a double bottom, but we just did not double bottom. We just broke through. This was the only reason that we had for a scalp on stream. So no other trades. For the short trade, we need to be a little bit patient. For the bounce, I think there's two main scenarios that I would be eyeing at the moment. It's either breakdown in a wave 3 by tonight. 1 2 1 2. This is still developing your third wave, and it just ends up nuking down, or you form a bounce here in another 1 2, and you break down tomorrow, right? Or but yeah, no, very difficult at this moment to consider anything corrective at this stage where we are in the market. Very, very difficult to consider that we do have something bullish from the lows here. Muy difícil. If we have here something that, if we're believing that this is corrective currently at where we at, 5-wave move has been invalidated. So ABC flat here, not working at the moment. For the bullish case, which is wave 1, wave 2, wave 1, wave 2 in a flat. C wave is not an impulse. If anything, it's multiple 1-2s, corrective structures at the moment. We do have increasing volume here on the 4-hourly. Not the 1-hourly as of yet. Something corrective here. Yeah, it's just, I would not say, I cannot say that there is something corrective here getting developed. Multiple 1-2s is what makes more sense at the moment here. So, we are favoring either the breakdown by tonight or get the bounce, form a lower high from 93.3k. I'm favoring at the moment the possible breakdown or bounce and then breakdown. The bounce needs to be corrective. The bounce needs a bit of time. It needs a bit of a 3-waver if you are attempting a lower high here. It's important. No big move up here is gonna, on the lower time frame. If it shoots up in the next 1 to 2 hours, we just get some green candles here like this. It's not going to be a level to short. You really need that staircase. You really need the staircase formation here. You need, you know, a bit of this. No big volatile moves. Because if it does, and it gets a big volatile move up and then rejects and then moves up, you know, we're looking for kind of something like this. You're looking for a 3-waver, right? Because that's how it plays, right? That's, you know, that's how it moves. You need that staircase. Anything corrective that can be it just doesn't look great for the correction here. Zigzag down, correction, you would have another zigzag here, but there's nothing bullish that finishes here from here for a double zigzag. So everything points out for the breakdown, guys. Everything points out for the breakdown. Of course, throughout the beginning of the stream, analyzing to see if we could form a 5th wave to the downside here. Could it be the 5th wave? Could we get a bounce and then roll over? But we know that the movements down are more aggressive than the movements to the upside, so not looking particularly pretty for this to be something corrective, even though anchored VWAP is getting that bounce. It's a scalp, guys. What can we say? There's no swing trade to be taken here as a long. You get into this scalp based on the reaction. It's, you know, get out, take it as a scalp, make a few bucks, get out, get the fuck out. This ain't a zone to have a massive bounce. when we read this structure. So we need to difference the scalps and the swing trades. This is a swing short territory. Do we get, you know, we're likely going to get that bounce regardless if it is going to be at lower prices, or this is the wave 2. You know, maybe this is actually the short. Because when we do consider getting into that wave 2, when we zoom out, hang on a minute, stock market, don't need that. When we do consider the scenarios here that happened, right? It's like, you know, when you want to get into that perfect bounce, which sometimes we get, sometimes we don't. But do you think after a couple of months, it really matters if you shorted here, or shorted here when the price action is down here? I mean, yeah, it's obviously better, but you know, you're still very much in that momentum, right? So we're currently in one of those stages where, is the impulse finished? Do we get a bigger bounce? Well, impulse has been invalidated, so we're really looking at multiple 1-2. So maybe before we get aggressive moves to the downside, we might just not get the chance for a new good entry, good responsible entry. And if you ask me for a good responsible entry, regarding the most bearish case, which would be multiple 1-2s, if not the 3rd wave already developed by tonight, and it just ends up breaking down here, then you would just have to hope for another 1-2 before, you know, shit hits the fan here and we do go to much lower prices in the coming days. And you know, there's no other safer way to actually have a corrective move up to hit minimum the 382 Fibonacci, and you'd have to move up in a 3-wave correction here between today and tomorrow, and look for the rejection points, SFP or this pivot low with the golden pocket. I mean, wave 2s usually overlap with the previous wave 1s, but you know, what can we say? but that's the only zone. SFP from this high or golden pocket would be my only triggers to jump into a new short position or add to existing shorts, speculating on the multiple 1-2, where your invalidation has to be this lower high at 93,300. Even though I would treat them as a scalp entry. So you either move up like this, boom, it's the trigger, long, stop loss above the high, or you either move up from here and you reach the golden pocket, which it gets the reaction to give you the entry. Bit of more risk management here instead of having stop loss up here, just to give a better entry to then roll over later on. So these are the only levels that I would consider as guidance to get into the long, and we need to get up there in some kind of a 3-wave move. That is if we do not break down tonight, and we'll just have to wait for the bounce naturally once that wave 3 is finished, which once increasing volume, and then obviously you would have to see your 4 and 5 price action, because you got your 1-2, your 1-2, and then increasing volume, and then you got your shallow bouncers 4 and 5. That's the moment that we would say, okay, right, we got the increasing volume in this move, slowing down here, potentially at the valley area low, and then we could look for that relief rally later on into the week. That might be the wave 2, or depending, right, and then the bigger move happens. We're just gonna have to go level by level. But yeah, whoever got into this long, treat it as a scalp. This is not a zone to enter the long at this moment. If you did not catch the long here on stream, on the reaction at the VWAP, and taken most of the profits, it's a scalp. It is a scalp. In no way this is treated as a swing position or add to longs as we get the bounce. So you enter with 1% stop loss, you make 2%, you get the heck out, right, with 1.5%, and leave 0.5 open with stop at break even. Just not a zone to play around. Anyway, legends, much love to everybody. Let's go through the comment section. But it's rolling over, just rolling over, moving down. Much love. Andy, can you do a channel from the local top to our recent low, please? A channel from the local top to our recent lows. Local top, like local top. This one over here, there's local lower high to the recent lows. I'm not sure. Is it this one from here to here, or this one from here to here? How local? Thanks for the great analysis, Andy, as usual. Much love to you, Dak Vic 25. Andy, scalp long, please. Scalp long, please. I'm out, Andy. I'm out, Andy. I'm out. Yeah. Yeah, we got a bounce of $500-600, and this is the how we need to treat it. It's looking bearish. Nice reaction at the confluence zone. Moved up $600-700. I mean, it's decent. It's okay for a scalp. 0.7% of a move. That's fine for a scalp. Well, there's no swing long territory here. CBM, much love. Because the shorts are printing, I guess someone is saying, why are we dumping? And CBM is saying because shorts are printing. They are indeed. They are indeed. The swing shorts are printing. I opened up a long hedge. My short, not taking any chances when we're this oversold. I've seen oversold go like really low. When we consider Elliott wave theory, I mean, everything really points out for wave 3 cooking. You know, wave 3 is cooking, regardless if it wants to show up today or if it wants to show up after the bounce. A wave 3 is really cooking here. So but yeah, everybody has their own strategy, I guess. You know, if the RSI is oversold for you or whatever indicator you're using, and you just want to open a hedge long with a little bit of room for your stop loss, I mean, there's no way out. This is not a zone to have a far away stop loss, because when we zoom out, we are at the perfect zone to start getting some, you know, volatile big breakdowns here. Already start claiming the liquidity at 87k, you know, even lower than that. It depends on your strategy, right? I don't have a swing long here. I only had a scalp long at this higher low with that anchored VWAP that we had from the lows here. So major pivot anchored VWAP, getting a little reaction bounce of $600-700. Get out, guys. Run away. Take the money and go away. Run. I made $10 on the scalp long. Hey, well, that's gonna get you a breakfast tomorrow morning. What can we say, right? That's a McDonald's there for you. McDonald's menu, one of those McDonald's breakfasts. You sorted, man, with that scalp long. Yes, Andy from 97k. Ashraf, I'm in a short from 91.7k. Nice. I guess 91.7k. I guess you just jumped in here, right over here. Still okay. I also made $10 tether, but only took $2 tether as profit in the end. Well, I guess you can get a coffee. I would never eat McDonald's. Dak Bick. Okay, nice. Healthy guy. Well, I guess you can buy some chicken fillets and some lettuce in the supermarket for tomorrow's lunch, right? Which is good. Got stopped out from the short, and now it's slowly grinding down. Thanks, bulls. Legends, much love to everybody. I entered a small long on Ethereum at 2,999. I will hold it for a bit. I guess it's not about holding, it's understanding where's your stop loss. I will hold it for a bit to see if it does something. That does sound like you don't have a stop loss, right? I entered along and I'll hold it for a bit, see what happens. I love you guys. You're insane. Ethereum. I mean, it sweep the lows. Bitcoin could get that bounce here. Bitcoin is at support. It is at the anchored VWAP from the lows. You are sweeping some higher lows here. Could get that bounce to 91, 92 if this ends up being a multiple 1-2. But it's looking weak, baby. It is looking weak. But a relief rally could make sense here. A relief rally could make sense here at the anchored VWAP. I have in small profits. I lost a lot of money saying things like that. Definitely. It does happen. Hi Andy, time to long. Nice price action. I mean, time to long at the specific levels, right? Which is an SFP of this higher low with the anchored VWAP. I mean, that's such a good entry and so easy to manage risk, you know, because then you're going to get people maybe long in here with stop loss here, right? Or with no stop loss. But this reaction here, whoever catch that trade, you know, it's a very, very, very good entry. Very, very good entry here, just to scratch some decent profits and leave, you know, 25% open, 30%. Might get a bigger relief rally in the coming hours, might sweep up the lower highs, you know, it's just a good entry regardless of how we move up here in the coming hours or we roll down. It's just a good entry, guys. Whoever got that, just a nice scalp. Good entry, good stop loss. Legends, much love to everybody. Anybody that is interested in trading, guys, you've seen down below, BTC at the moment is giving 30% unlimited bonus on top of your deposit. You deposit 10K, you're getting $3,000. You're depositing 100K, you're getting 30,000. You're depositing $1 million, you're getting 300,000, guys. Read the term and conditions, okay? 30% of that is used, okay, to actually pay for your losses and trading fees. So it obviously does cover as well. That's why it's there. But take advantage, guys. These is like giving you a very good cushion to increase your trading capital. And take advantage of it, guys. You got the link down below in the description for BTCC with this insane bonus that they're running at the moment. You also got Bluffing as well. Bluffing for me is one of the leading ones for the last year. And remember, if you want to join the trading community on Telegram, send me the word join on Telegram and I'll share you the instructions, legends. I'm going to wrap it up. Going to get something to eat. Much love to everybody for joining. Whoever got into this long scalp, very nice. I mean, we're gonna have to see, guys. We need some kind of a corrective bounce here to either hit one of our levels of interest, which is either the golden pocket. It needs to move up in a 3-wave correction. I cannot have a straight move up here to attempt the short. I need some kind of a staircase 3-waver to either consider sweep of this high and then move down, or if we take out this high, get a little move and then move up, then this resistance support flip. There's only certain specific levels that I would get in, and how we get up there, right? If we shoot up from here, I'm not interested in getting into the short. It needs to move up correctively. Okay, and the most important levels is the lower highs of today with the 382 Fibonacci 50%. That's if we move up in a 3-wave matter here in the next coming hours between today and tomorrow, then it could be interesting, similar to this price action that we had yesterday, right? If not, move up, move down, move up, you know, the golden pocket with the high volume node pivot low of Monday, which would be a good support resistance flip zone with the golden pocket from the recent move down here between yesterday and today. And that's all we got, guys. That's all we got. Be aware that we could be breaking down in a 3rd wave at some point, but we are at support, so whoever catch that long position, absolute legend. It's just an intraday scalp. Much love to everybody. We'll be back with more. Let's see what information we got. Trade safe, stay safe. If you want to join the community, just send me the word join on the Telegram. Thank you very much. And I closed my short from 95.3k, says Bathmadia. Much love to you, Bathmadia. Much love to everybody. Stay safe, manage risk. Thank you very much. If you want to join the community, you got DMs open here on the Telegram down below, guys. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow.